Hello, welcome to this new video of the Beer TV. Here we are in Essen Spiel with the author of one of the hottest games of this fair, one of our new releases, Polis. Here is our copy, and here we are with Fran Díaz, the author of the game. How are you, Fran?
Hi, Benjamin. Fine, thank you.
Okay, great. So today we're gonna discuss a bit about how Polis was created, how is this game, why it's so popular, what's the story behind. So we're gonna start talking with Fran about his career as board game creator. Fran, tell me, when did it begin?
In 2010, I started designing in my head, in my mind, the Polis 2010. And 2 years later, it was released by a small publisher, newborn here in Spain. This is my only game published. I have minor designs beside this game, but this is the only game I have published. So I began, as I told you, in 2010. And I'm designing new games by now, but this is the only game that is published.
Okay. So, Polis is not a real new game, but this is a new edition that we're releasing by the beer, like a remaster, like something director's cut, something
A
like this.
director's cut.
Yeah,
We made that.
yeah, we're gonna talk about it. A deluxe edition, but Polis has a beginning, and how it was. How was the beginning of Polis?
The beginning of Polis was very humble. It started as a print and play game in Board Game Geek, and it was a year and a half by being a print and play game. I remember it was a year and a half. And as I told you, in 2012, a new company was born here in Spain to publish the game. So this is the beginning was very, very low, very, very humble.
Yeah, sure. But it was very humble. It was a print and play. But after you release it with Asylum Games, they wanted to release it because there was a kind of hype behind this game.
Small hype. It was
Small
a
hype.
small hype. Small hype. I remember it was played as a prototype in Roma in Italy by Talenor, user Borg in Geek, and they show interest in the game in Italy, and later it was a minor interest, a minor hype here in Spain, and the company Asylum Games was created to publish the game. So they wanted to publish. They thought that it was worth it, and the beginnings was very, very slow. Each review of a user in Board Game Geek was one by 2 or 3 weeks, step by step, but very
Step
slow.
by step.
It was an achievement. Every review was an achievement.
Little by
It
little.
was very hard, a very hard start.
But I'm sure you were a lot of time and you put a lot of energy creating Polis because it's a huge game. And it's based on Peloponnesian War, a war between Greece and Sparta.
And before the Peloponnesian War, the
Before.
Achaemenid War, before and when they were at peace between Sparta and Athens.
Perfect. I'm sure you had to document yourself a lot. So, how was this process? Are you kind of a big fan of history or something like that?
I'm a big fan of history, but not so big fan of this period. We have to name Thucydides, obviously. This is the main source of the period. But I want to name a Danish philologist called Mogens Hermann Hansen. Is a big scholar about the period, about the history of the polis, and an inventory of polis that is one of his books is one of the main sources of this game. As, we the thieves, Thibai, one of the polis, I always thought that it was bigger. It's just an example. I always thought that it was bigger, and in the game is just a police of 3 points of populations, and many of the police, the information, the data came from that book and the other books from the author.
Cool. So it was a hard work, but I think you enjoy it very much.
Of course, it was a hard work, but I enjoyed a lot that work. I think it was 1 year of investigation and reading, and that year, that first year, 2010, as I told you, I started to create some mechanics and ideas from that sources. I don't start creating mechanics from scratch. I start thinking about the theme first. I think not only in historical games, the theme should be the main soul. The soul of the game should be the theme, not the mechanics. I don't like the game that the mechanics are just abstracts and not related to the theme.
Yeah. In Polis, we can see that because everything that happens, it's based on facts and on history. So it's a game that's very original because you can't like say it's very similar to this one or something like this. It's a game that feels unique, and I'm sure it's about it. It's because you were thinking on the theme before the mechanics. So how you did it, because it's not easy to simulate this on a game.
I always begin designing a game as a monster game, unplayable, impossible to play. Police was that game before being print and play. It was a 6 hours or more monster game, impossible to manage. And then I start to cut all the things that are that the design doesn't need them, and then the core of the game goes to the surface. And I think it's not the usual way to work, but it's my way to work.
Yeah.
And I think it becomes a game more related to the theme that way, not the other way, implementing and adding mechanics to one simple or good idea. I don't know. There is no good way to work. It's just one way to work, my way, and this is the way Polis was born.
So I think the first edition of Polis was released in 2012 by Asylum Games, and it was in hands of many players at that time. How you remember this first release of Polis, this first version that came to market?
As we were speaking before, very slow. Not so many players were playing Polis the first months. I think the big hit was when Polis was nominated to the International Gamers Award. Two Players Game was the nominee. I remember it was won by Antique Dualum, and the other success for the game was the Golden Geek Two-Player Game nomination. So those two huge success uh, were the reasons that the players around the globe began playing Polis from other countries that Spain. They began to be played in several countries that I never thought that it was going to be played, and those two big hits, two two dates, that was the beginning of the game we all know.
And how it came to America and to American Army, because I know they use it.
Yeah, it has been used. I don't know if it's still used in 2019 and 2020, but the past years was used in Marine Corps War College in Quantico, Virginia, uh, by the professor James Lacey to teach seniors officers of the U.S. Army um, among the studies of the classical strategy and the ancient wars. So it was chosen by its heavy economic use and a heavy economic fact inside the game. Um, it puts the players into scarcity, and they have to reach the resources. There is no armies with factors and with stats. There is cubes and resources. And the professor saw that reading Thucydides was not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So they began a gamification of the class, and he chose Polis as a game to teach ancient wars.
That when you knew that thing, how did you felt?
Overwhelmed.
Totally sure.
It was surprising and amazing, both things. I don't know. To be played in simultaneous games, 5 simultaneous games by U.S. Army officers. That is, the people that is going to be the main strategies of, or some of the main strategies in the U.S. Army is overwhelming by a game that began so low, so with a low profile,
Hmm.
with so slow development in place, and so quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, but the fact is, from the beginnings of Poly till now, I think it became kind of a cult game, something like super selective, and that some people think that that's a very very good game, but not very much people knows it. So, do you think that Police got this status? Do you agree with me?
I think this new edition is going to reach much more people than the game has reached before. This 2020 new edition. I hope so. I think that we may say so. It's a good game. Um, there are many die-hard fans who think this is a great game and who have played many games than me, and I will be beaten very hard by those players. But I hope this new edition reach not I think not the general public, the Eurogamers in a huge amount, but some people that are among war games, or are thinking about playing war games and not have
Mhm.
not made that decision yet. This is an entry game. We may say this is an entry game to the world of war games. As a mix between a Eurogame and a war game, it may serve as an entry game to the world, to that world of war games.
But this like crossover between Euro games and war games that you really can feel when you play Police was something that you were trying to make on the game from the beginning. Was one of your goals as creator?
That was one of my goals. I wanted to create a game that it was not so usual that in 2010 a crossover, as you said, between a war game, a simple war game, and a heavy economic Euro game. That was one of my goals. Yes.
Hmm. And we say that this game is very special. This kind of crossover mechanics between Eurogame and Wargame. and that's a game that it depends very much of which people plays it. It will become more Euro game or more war game. The decision is on the hands of the players. So,
Yeah.
did you had any like influence or something or some game that you said, okay, there's something cool here, I will like take it, or any influence on Polis, do you think?
As we were speaking before, I wanted to create a unique game that it, it was going to be born from the theme, not from the mechanics. But some games were on my mind when I started creating Polis. One of those games and the main reference in the design I can say is Hannibal from by Mark Simonich. Um, um, the people that play Polis can see that is one of the references. But I wanted to be a part of that game of the war gaming of the war game of war. I wanted to create a game that is more in the Eurogame side, not so in the war game side. I think that is more a Eurogame, a heavy Eurogame than a war games. In fact, you can play a game without a battle. It's not so unusual, and not so many people agree with me. But I think it's more a Euro game than a war game.
Okay, some diehard fans of Police maybe now are pissed off, but sorry, guys. But for people that really don't know Police, what do you say to them? How you explain the game like in 2 minutes?
I think it's a mix between chess and a boxing match. You will be hit hard by the game, especially in the first place, but you have to be just better than the opponent. And if you
Mhm.
survive, if you are better than the opponent, maybe you can win the game. You have to develop wisely, not to be very ambitious. You have to be patient when to begin to develop, when to begin to grow, and you have to wait to the exact moment when you can do it. You must save some for the next moves and the next turns. In the first, as I said, in the first place, you will be hit hard by the game itself, and you must see what the game offers to enjoy. And I think that by the third or the fourth play, you will see how much Police have to offer you.
Yeah, I think it's the first game that's not a cooperative game that I'm really afraid of the game itself. You know, that can kill me. Yeah. So now we have Polis, this new edition that we have released on this fair on Essen Spiel. This like remake of the game, and we prepared a very short video that we want to share with you just to feel the essence of the game. So let's see it. so epic. I think it's a great minute of Polis, and there are very cool quotes there. There's one that we are very like proud or emotion by this one. That's the one from Jason Matthews, the author of Twilight Struggle, another game that people can find some similarities with Polis, don't you think, Fran?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know. As a big fan of Toilet Struggle, is overwhelming to me. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Toilet Struggle and the works by Jason Matthews, and I don't know what to say. It's amazing to have that quote.
Yeah,
I hope it's deserved. I don't know if it's deserved by the game, but I hope so.
sure it is. So here we have this new edition. Fran, first of all, what do you think about it? I'm gonna show some material, but what do you think about this new edition?
I love it. I think the game that the work of the board, the pieces are of superb quality. I think the thickness and the quality of the game is superb. Uh, I don't know the players when if they decide to buy the game, they will see a great quality production. Uh,
Yeah, I would say that production is awesome on Polis. I think there's a very good work done here. We have seen some of the details of the board that are like in with little holes that are very cool for putting the pieces there. That's, I think it's a big improvement. The board it's huge, so I can show it, but you can see some videos that we showed. Oh yes, here we are. The board is huge, as you see. Yeah, and those holes there really help to see where the tokens can be put. I think it's really helpful, and it really appeals to the experience of the game. So production.
I remember some cats ruining the game. I remember long sleeves ruining the game. So it won't be an issue anymore.
It won't be an issue anymore. And I think that the first look that you do to Polis will attract you as well, because the cover of the game, it's very beautiful. What can you tell me about this new cover?
I think is, as you say before, it's an epic cover of the game. Much more attractive than the old one. The old one was charming too, with the dark design. But I think this is an epic survival. It reflects the survival of the players in the game and the hard work they have to do in the play of Polis.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
the work by Corominas is a
Yeah,
great one. Uh,
yeah.
he's the
Enrique Corominas is a great illustrator from our country. It is the author of the covers in Spain of
it's a
Game of
painting.
Thrones
It's
books.
a painting. It's a painting. We can see it's a painting.
Yeah, it's a painting. It's not a digital draw or something like this. No, it's a full painting, and we have a picture of this paint in the cover. So he worked very hard as well for this Polis. We have a big picture of a big picture of the cover in our office. Yeah, production is great. You can see there's a lot of materials. We have different kind of meeples for the different kind of characters that
And
come.
the proxenos, the merchants are
The
pieces, are
Brexton as the
special
merchant.
pieces, not just
Yeah.
pawns.
Here we have, for example, those like tokens
Project.
with projects. Yeah, that has illustration of the period that are very cool. Yeah, a lot of cards that they have different events and as well battle cards. So there's a lot inside this box, and I'm sure that you are very happy, Fran. But this is for you, the definitive edition of Polis, or there's
I think
something
it
more
is.
that you would like to improve.
I think it is. It is a
It
definitive
is
edition of Polis. And the director's cut of Polis.
director's cut. We've
With the
seen,
rulebook and with the edition.
that's the point. We've seen some improvements on production and on the cover, for example, different cover. But there's also some tweaks, some improvements in the rule book, in the game rules that I'm sure you have been thinking on all those years.
Small tweaks. The main tweak is the trait. The trait works in a similar way than the original game, but is thought in another way, in, and some other things. But the projects are balanced. We have one round less, one just 3 rounds when we had four before, and we have one less resource. The olive oil is not with us anymore, and all the events have been balanced. All the events have been reworked. I think we have work in the balance of the game and a smooth flow of the game. I don't think it's not a it's not an easier game. It's just
Hmm.
it's the same hard game as always, but we have improved minor things of the game.
Perfect. I'm sure a lot of people that loved the older version will feel curious and would like to try this new and better version or remake version. But I'm sure as well there's going to be a lot of new Polish player this year. What would you like to say to them, to these new people that will come and try Polish for the first time?
Don't be afraid. We they may be afraid after this interview, but don't be afraid. The game is easy to learn and easy to teach, I think, but it's hard to play. Not to play, to manage. We can say to manage the resources to do what you want. You will be always wanted to do more things than you can do, and you have to manage carefully all the resources you have. You win with the things that are not in the board. You win with the things that are outside the board, with the prestige points and the population. But you have to think 90% of the time what is inside what is in the board on the board. So it's a unique game and different of the war games or the Euro games we all know, and the players mm, doesn't have to be afraid of Polis.
Yeah, it seems the first time you played that you have to conquer everything to feel that your board it's more
Growing and conquering all
yeah,
the Greek
yeah.
Polis. But it's not the
There's no
point.
blue,
It's not the
it's
point of the
everything.
game.
There's no blue, is everything red, I'm gonna win and maybe not. Yeah, yeah, it's very special on this way. So Fran, I know that you are super happy with this new edition of Polis, this new release. How far do you think that Polis will go this time? So if you can dream, where you would like to see Polis? You have seen it on uh, American Army. So what's next?
I don't know. I just want to for the game to be played by more players, to have um, um, bigger fan base, but I don't know what to dream about the game. The game has always surpassed and um, all the expectation that I have been expecting of the game. So I don't know what the next border that Police may cross.
Well, we'll see it for
We'll
sure
see.
in short time. So, Fran, has been a big pleasure to talk with you. But I would like to end this interview with this question: what you think as a creator that makes Police a real unique game? So, what's for you the big thing of Police?
I think that many people thinks Police is the game they expect to play, and every turn, every move made by the players is the decision with capital letters. The decision. They have to think very, very carefully what to do, and if they think they're doing the wrong thing, maybe it's too late to to think what they have to do before. No? The game put the player into shortage of all the resources, and the decisions are very hard to think.
Yeah, it's not a game for megalomaniacs. Every little thing counts, and your rival has to see what's if you do a false move. They have to take care of it and advantage. So yeah, it's very cool. And Fran, I have a personal question for you. What would you recommend for a new player? Do you think it's better to start with Sparta or with Athens for some reason or not?
Maybe Sparta is easier to manage. If you play with Athens, you have to think all the time about how to cut the trade routes and how to do a strategy to cut all the movements by the Spartan armies by hit and run, because you will be losing many land battles. So I think I will recommend to choose Sparta if to a new buy player.
Very good. So that's why I'm losing with Athens on my first play.
But
I,
20, by 20 or 30 plays, you will be. Some people have say that it's easier as Athens. If you know very well how to play, they say it's. I don't know what to say, but they say it's easier to play with Athens. But by
okay.
the 30th play.
So I would say to the people that seeing this interview that please, if you can, just play 30 times to Polis and say that we are wrong. So, Fran, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations for this new edition of Polis and for all the work that you've done. It's an amazing game, and we are super happy that people will discover it now, finally, and have a great Spiel Essen, digital Spiel Essen, and see you soon.
Bye. Goodbye.